welcome back to Vintage Disney here on Brian's Things That Are Cool. Today we're going to be taking a look at Flight of the Navigator, but first a little bit of history. Kids in outer space, a theme that goes back decades in films. But with a little movie called E.T., it was everywhere in the 80s. Some of the post-E.T. sci-fi boom was great. Some of the examples were interesting, and some had you scratching your head and wondering what they were thinking. But the ones that were great really were something special, and Flight of the Navigator, I think, fits nicely into that category. Flight of the Navigator started out as an independent film. The main production company, Producers Sales Organization, put up 2/3 of the film's budget, while the rest came from Viking Film, a Norwegian company. Then Walt Disney Pictures picked up all the rights for the film for North America, making it the first distribution deal for the Disney company under then-new leader Michael Eisner. This was the world's first feature film to use CGI environment mapping, and the effects still hold up today. The CGI shots were produced by Omnibus Graphics, which was one of the first computer animation companies. Most notably, they were responsible for 80s TV commercials and later the display screens seen on the bridge of the Enterprise and Klingon starships on Star Trek. They even worked with Michael Jackson and George Lucas on the effects seen in Captain EO. Personally, I've always preferred the look of practical effects to CGI, but if computers must be used, I'd like to see both options utilized as they are here. For instance, as David enters the spaceship, we see a door form out of nothing, and a series of suspended steps leading to the ship appears. Whereas now this scene would be done completely with computers, here stop motion and simple trick photography was used. This gives the otherworldly objects weight and allows for the generated objects to appear more realistic. There were 2 full-scale ship hulls used in the film, one with an open entrance, the other sealed. They were constructed out of thin, curved sheets of wood over metal framework and finished with primer and reflective paint. One of the ships used was once part of the Hollywood Studios backlot tour at Walt Disney World. The other was refurbished and is currently used as the Cool Ship in Tomorrowland at the Magic Kingdom. The Navigator may fly again. In 2020, a documentary on child star Joey Kramer, who of course played David, will be released, focusing on his troubled life after his breakthrough film. Now, I'm not much for remakes or reboots or whatever they call them nowadays, but we may soon see another adventure with Max. In 2009, The Hollywood Reporter broke the news that Disney was in the process of remaking the film. As it happens in development hell, there wasn't much news about this again until 2017, when it was revealed that Joe Henderson from TV's Lucifer would be writing the script. Then, in November of the same year, another studio, Oat Studios, announced its plans to remake the picture. Things have been quiet for a couple years now, but hopefully a new generation will be able to enjoy this story like us kids in the 80s did. So let's see if Flight of the Navigator is a letdown, or if it's still out of this world. Flight of the Navigator from 1986 follows 12-year-old David Freeman, who accidentally falls in a ditch and wakes up 8 years later. His parents, brother, and everyone else has aged except for him. Of course, no one is sure why, but NASA believes it might be connected to the spaceship they just found. As the scientists begin to investigate, they realize that the boy's brain is now packed with star charts of uncharted galaxies and want to keep the boy for further experiments. But before that can happen, the ship calls for David, and he decides to board the ship. The ship's computer, who the boy names Max, is voiced by Paul Reubens, who for some reason is credited as Paul Mall. David discovers that Max was collecting specimens from numerous galaxies, and that he himself was the specimen of Earth. Not only that, but the star charts to get David back to his own time are now in his head, making him the ship's navigator. The first half of the movie is slow build-up with a lot of science talk, and then in the second half we get the kid on the ship doing what a kid with a spaceship would do. Despite a rather slow lead-in, this film is excellent. The mix of practical effects and CGI still hold up amazingly well 35 years later. So if you're looking for a film with adventure, mystery, and great effects, tell your computer to queue up Flight of the Navigator. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my review of Flight of the Navigator. If you want to be kept up to date as to when I release a new video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm Brian. Thank you and have a good week.